part of NFL Network's coverage all week long includes my friend, the 3-time Super Bowl champion, Willie McGinest. Good to see you, sir.
How you doing, Rich?
I'm well. How are you? I asked you that question. You sat down. You're like just like everybody else. It's just
a
feeling
little somber, man. A little shock, you know. I think it was shocking for everybody. I was at the Pro Bowl, actually, and we're getting ready, to start the game.
Right.
When the news hit, and I think everybody was kind of saying, I hope this isn't real.
Right.
What we're hearing, and when the final news came through, man, it was a little devastating.
I'm assuming you know Kobe. You've met him several times. You're Mr. Long Beach Poly and obviously Mr. USC. You have spent so many years in the public eye in Southern California, just like he did. I can't believe we're talking about him in past tense. What was your relationship like with Kobe?
I was cool with Kobe. Not like we hung out, went out all the time, but he was a LA, of course, iconic figure, not just LA, but globally, I would say.
Right.
And I was a season ticket holder when he came to LA, so I watched pretty much his entire career, watched him kind of transition from that Philly guy to that LA/Philly guy, because, he was still an East Coast diehard Philadelphia Eagle fan.
I mean, he's still to this,
Right. And just watching him transition and pretty much become acclimated to LA and become one of the greatest players in any sport. And just watching his tenacity, what he was made of. And I was thinking about that on the way to the show because I knew we were going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You could take what Kobe had and you can apply it in any sport, football, baseball, boxing, because he had that it about him. To make other players better, raise their level of their game, the tenacity, that killer instinct is why they call him the Mamba, one of the deadliest,
Right.
And just what he brought to the game and how that kind of transferred off the field. And I don't know, he just did so much for not only sport, but for people.
Where does he rank in the Los Angeles sports pantheon? And I asked that question fully knowing what you said. He was a kid from Philadelphia that Jerry West acquired. And Jerry West, as the saying goes and the story goes that he's told many times in the last 24 hours, he tried him out. Michael Cooper was the defender in the tryout. And Jerry West needed only to see a couple minutes. He said he's better than virtually every player we have now.
Wow.
And he's a kid that started talking about going to be better than Jordan. And here you also had an organization with Kareem and Magic and the Showtime. I do remember that maybe some Los Angeles sports fans were like, who does this kid think he is? And now he's Mr. Los Angeles.
He was, and especially because he came out of high school. So that's what when you look at a young kid, he was a kid coming into a man's league, and the way he came in, the confidence he had, the confidence they had in him.
Right.
You got to give a lot of credit to Jerry West for getting Kobe. That wasn't his initial team, And to see what he had in him, knowing kind of like some of these other great coaches when they could see and kind of assume or know what this kid is, what this guy is going to be later on and what he become, I think it's pretty phenomenal. And just to be able to share some of his life and be a part and be a season ticket holder, be at those games and just to watch him and then interact with him, those times you were able to see him outside of basketball.
What would he say to you?
Just conversation. Well, the first thing we would always say was, "What's up, champ?" He was a fan of Bill Belichick and the Patriots. He spoke to the team before.
What do you mean? When you were playing?
Not when I was playing. After I left.
Okay.
And Belichick was a big fan of him because he pretty much embodied everything we did. Our team did. And that was the first thing we would say, "What's up, champ? How you doing?" We laugh. Then, of course, he had girls. I have 3 daughters. So we, it always got into that. And then, he's a polarizing superstar. So you're not going to sit there and talk to him for an hour, but he would always make time.
Willie McGinest here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, let's talk game predictions. The big game, again, is going to be available in 4K on Sunday on DirecTV. Yep. What do you think is going to happen in this game, Willie McGinest?
Man, I'm still formulating. And
you're not allowed to formulate.
I think it's a great matchup. I'm glad these two teams, out of the last 4 teams, ended up being in the Super Bowl because I think it's a great matchup. I think you talk about 2 physical teams. One team that's going to try to beat you up in the trenches, the 49ers. They play a certain style in the run game and on the defense. And another team that is physical, but they can beat you in a lot of different ways offensively. And they've gotten way better on the defensive side of the ball. It's just going to be interesting to see if Kansas City comes in and gets a lead, how that would change things for the 49ers. We'll see a different offensive game plan. They'll have to adjust. They may have to get away from the run a little bit. Jimmy G may have a little more to say.
Well, you'd have to say it would have to be 2 scores, like 2 touchdowns.
10 points, 14 points.
Well, I mean, Mostert has been recently, and I know, again, the Chiefs' defense has definitely improved over the second half of the season and certainly in the playoffs. When you hold Derrick Henry to what they held him based on what everyone else is saying, then they're playing well against the run. But Mostert has been getting first downs per touch, in these playoffs. So you'd have to say for them to potentially panic, because that's what they would have to do to get out of their game plan. 14-0, right? 17-0 would have to be the lead, not 10.
No question, because the Chiefs will run the ball as well. And a 5-8-yard pass is just like a run to the Chiefs, but they're so fast.
Right.
They strike so fast. And I think if you watch the game against the Chiefs and the Titans, Derrick Henry was a factor early on. But once they got ahead and they started to score, you couldn't hand the ball off anymore because you're playing from behind. You have to catch up. And I know you want to be patient. I know you want to be consistent in your game plan, but a team that can go down and continuously get and strike the same way, you gotta keep up. You gotta play keep up.
So I'm trying to follow you as you're formulating. You're using Rich Eisen shows space.
I am.
To work through your game theory right now. So how do the Chiefs get those points early? It really is Mahomes. This is a Mahomes game.
It's Andy Reid and Mahomes. So what's important, I played against Andy Reid in 2004 in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
What's really interesting about Andy Reid is he's going to come out with a script, 15 plays, whatever it is.
Right.
And it's going to be tempo, it's going to be motion, shifts, it's going to give you a lot. And he's going to try and see what type of defense you're in. And if you're not ready for it and you panic or you have mental errors, it's going to turn into touchdowns. Not big plays, touchdowns. And he does that not only to identify what the defense is in, but also just to get his offense going. So I think that's the tough part. And you got Saleh on the other side, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, who plays zone predominantly, plays zone. So I've been saying for the last few weeks, against this team, you cannot sit in the zone. They got too many weapons. They'll figure it out. They'll pick you apart. You got to mix it up. You got to be able to get pressure. You got to kind of keep Pat Mahomes off balance. And if you don't, Andy Reid, knowing what you're in, it's going to be a long day. So I'm interested to see the adjustments that the 49ers defense will make.
Well, I don't know if you heard my DirecTV 4K game predictions is the way I led into this.
Okay.
So your game prediction would be right now on the Monday before the game.
I think I'm gonna ride with the AFC, the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple people that are somewhat in our audience right now nodding in agreement. Or clapping. That's fine. You may do that. That's not so fine.
Okay. We got a nice handful of people.
Willie McGinest here on the Rich Eisen Show. In the few minutes I have left with you here, there's many different ways I'm going to answer. I could ask this question, so it's just going to come straight through the front door. Do you get Chargers season tickets when Tom Brady shows up to play for the Chargers? Willie McGinest.
If that happens, I think there are a lot of people that would get Chargers season tickets if Tom Brady showed up.
How likely is that to happen?
I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. I haven't had a conversation. I think Tom's going to do what's best for him and his family. I would love to see him return to the Patriots and finish out his career there. And I'm sure they're going to do everything possibly to try to make that happen. But the reality is there are superstars and players like myself that have left and went to other organizations. But for Tom, it has to be right. All the pieces got to fit. The resources have to be there. Family has to be happy about it.
How about Southern California, new stadium, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry.
I'm listening. Gordon.
Yeah, they got Eckler. How about that as your five
Bosa,
guys raising their hands, just
Ingram,
saying,
the defense,
Derwin James.
Yeah, I mean,
How about that?
That sounds good. There's only one thing. He lived in L.A.
Yes.
He built a beautiful home, and he sold his home to Dr. Dre, and he left. And I'm saying this for a reason, because his wife doesn't like living in L.A., in California. So that could play I'm just saying that that could possibly play.
Happy wife, happy life.
Right.
We know that for sure.
But if he said, baby, for 2 years, if he says, baby, let's just do it for 2 years.
Yeah, rent, not own.
It could possibly happen.
But because you told me don't pay attention to the real estate in this whole thing, the real estate maneuvers,
There's
right?
a lot of things that factor in. It's family. It's like you said, your wife.
Right.
The resources, the different things that you want to accomplish. There's a lot of things that factor in. Tom is not that easy. It's complicated. There's a lot of things. Business, the business
of course, is a TB12.
TB12 that's going on.
People live very healthy in Southern
Just tell him to stay, Willie. Call him up and say, don't leave. It's that easy.
I think all the fans like yourself will want him to stay.
Of course, and Bob Kraft is fan number one, and I'm sure he's going to. But when it all comes down to it, the roster considerations, if that is an important thing for Brady, cannot be addressed before the contract. The contract has to come first with the new league year. They can't go and make the moves and make it more attractive for Tom unless he waits.
Talking about New England.
Yes.
Well, they made it attractive. Remember, they had Josh Gordon. He had a relapse. They had AB. He lost his mind. So they had the pieces in place.
Right.
And maybe we would be talking about different teams if those guys could have stayed put. But it didn't happen. So, here we are.
All right. And I appreciate you coming here, man. You're one of my favorites, at Willie McGinest on Twitter and Instagram, and you're part of the whole extravaganza certainly on Sunday, right?
Yep.
Are we doing Will on Sunday?
We're not doing
no,
Willie
no more Willie Willies?
Not this year.
No. Willie, everybody. Willie McGinest, good to see you here, sir.
Thanks.
You check him on NFL Network all week, and all of us will be together on Sunday for NFL Game Day morning.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.